Some stories are so outrageous they can only be fiction. A secret government program experimenting with mind control? It sounds like something out of a science fiction movie, right? But what if I told you it happened? They called it paranoia. They called it fantasy. But behind locked doors, under layers of classified files, and within the shadows of the Cold War, a nightmare unfolded. Welcome to the Unknown Archive, where today we unravel the horrifying reality of Project MKUltra. It's 1953. The world is in turmoil. The Cold War has split the globe into two opposing factions, each vying for dominance. But this isn't just a battle of armies or weapons, it's a battle of ideologies. The United States is locked in a tense standoff with the Soviet Union, and paranoia runs high. The fear isn't just of nuclear annihilation, it's of something far more insidious. What if the Soviets discovered a way to control the human mind? What if they could turn soldiers into traitors or civilians into assassins? This isn't the plot of a Hollywood thriller, it's the reality that haunted US intelligence agencies. And it's this fear that gave birth to Project MKUltra. Officially launched in 1953, this CIA program would go down in history as one of the most controversial and unethical experiments ever conducted. But let's start at the beginning. MKUltra was authorized by Allen Dulles, the director of the CIA at the time. Dulles was a man deeply invested in countering the perceived threats of the Cold War, and he believed that the key to victory lay not just in weapons, but in the mind. His vision was clear: to uncover the secrets of mind control before America's enemies could. The goals of MKUltra were ambitious and terrifying. The CIA wanted to understand how to manipulate thoughts, behaviors, and memories. They sought to create techniques that could be used in interrogation, psychological warfare, and even covert assassinations. But while the goals may have seemed strategic, the methods were anything but ethical. The experiments conducted under MKUltra were shrouded in secrecy. They explored everything from hypnosis to sensory deprivation to electroshock therapy. But one tool quickly became the centerpiece of their research: LSD. This potent hallucinogen was relatively new at the time, and the CIA believed it held the key to unlocking the mind's hidden potential. They wanted to see if it could be used to break down mental defenses, implant suggestions, or even erase memories. What followed was a series of experiments that pushed the boundaries of science and morality. Over the next 2 decades, MKUltra conducted more than 150 classified experiments. The participants? Many of them had no idea they were part of the program. Take, for example, Operation Midnight Climax. In this bizarre subproject, the CIA set up fake brothels in San Francisco and New York. Men were lured in with promises of pleasure, only to have their drinks secretly laced with LSD. Behind hidden mirrors, CIA agents observed their behavior, taking notes on how the drug affected them. For these unsuspecting victims, it was a night they would never forget, for all the wrong reasons. And the experiments didn't stop there. Prisoners, psychiatric patients, and even soldiers were subjected to these trials. Some were locked in sensory deprivation chambers for days, cut off from all external stimuli. Others were dosed with increasingly high amounts of LSD until they reached their psychological breaking points. The CIA wanted to know just how far they could push the human mind before it snapped. The experiments weren't just unethical, they were dangerous. Many participants suffered long-term psychological damage, and some even lost their lives. But for the CIA, it was all justified in the name of national security. For decades, MKUltra operated in complete secrecy. But by the 1970s, the truth began to emerge. Investigative journalist John Marks, along with the Senate's Church Committee, began to uncover the program's dark secrets. What they found shocked the nation. In 1973, as MKUltra was being shut down, the CIA destroyed most of its records. But a few documents survived, and they painted a horrifying picture of the program's scope. Among the revelations was the story of Dr. Frank Olson. Olson was a CIA scientist who became one of MKUltra's most tragic figures. In 1953, he was unknowingly dosed with LSD by his colleagues during a retreat. Days later, he fell to his death from a hotel window. The official story was that he had committed suicide, but decades later, new evidence suggested foul play. Olsen's family fought for years to uncover the truth, and what they found raised chilling questions about how far the CIA was willing to go to protect its secrets. But Olsen wasn't the only victim of MKUltra. Thousands of people were affected by the program, many of whom still live with the trauma today. One of the most heartbreaking stories is that of Linda MacDonald, a psychiatric patient in Canada. In the 1960s, MacDonald was subjected to MKUltra experiments funded by the CIA. She was placed in a drug-induced coma for weeks and subjected to intense electroshock therapy. When she woke up, she had no memory of her life before the treatment. She had to relearn how to walk, talk, and even recognize her own family. And MacDonald wasn't alone. MKUltra's reach extended far beyond CIA facilities. The program infiltrated universities, research institutions, and even prisons. Under the guise of scientific research, the CIA funded experiments that tested drugs and psychological techniques on unsuspecting students, inmates, and employees. Universities like Stanford, Harvard, and McGill received funding through front organizations, unknowingly, or in some cases knowingly, playing a role in this dark chapter of history. The ethical violations of MKUltra were staggering. Participants were often misled or coerced into taking part in experiments. In many cases, they were given no opportunity to provide informed consent, and the consequences were devastating. Many of the program's victims suffered from long-term mental health issues, while others were left to pick up the pieces of lives that had been shattered beyond repair. By the time MKUltra was exposed, the damage had already been done. The program officially ended in 1973, but for the victims, the scars, both physical and emotional, remained. Lawsuits were filed and a few settlements were paid, but no one was ever held accountable for the horrors inflicted under MKUltra. The CIA issued vague apologies, but they offered little comfort to the survivors who had been irreparably harmed by the program. And here's the chilling part. Some experts believe MKUltra never truly ended. They argue that its techniques have evolved into more sophisticated methods, hidden in modern surveillance programs or psychological operations. Think about it. Manipulating public opinion, gathering data to predict behavior, these could be the new frontiers of mind control. So, what do you think? Was MKUltra just a Cold War experiment gone too far, or is it part of something even bigger? Could programs like this still exist today, hidden under different names and advanced technologies? Let us know in the comments. And if there's a mystery you want us to uncover next, share it with us. We might just feature it in our next episode of The Unknown Archive. The unknown isn't just out there, it's all around us. Thanks for watching The Unknown Archive. Stay curious, stay skeptical, and remember, sometimes the most unbelievable stories turn out to be true.